who's pushing this energy bill? And what do they have to stand to gain? Well, let's see. Who are these people? Could it be maybe, I don't know, Nancy Pelosi? Nancy Pelosi has $50,000 to $100,000 invested in Clean Energy Fuels Corporation. We have, who's this guy? Oh my gosh, Representative Edward Markey. Markey, why do I know that? Hey, that name, that's the same as the guy in the bill. He wrote the bill. He has investments between $51,000 and $115,000 in the First-Hand Technology Value Fund, which has three solar energy manufacturers. And then, of course, Mr. Inconvenient Truth himself. Yes, Al Gore. His venture capital firm is heavily invested in a new software company that is making software to help companies track their carbon footprint. Well, that's convenient. He and his companies will make a fortune. And not only make this bill the politicians rich, but it will also increase the politicians' power as well. The government will control what you can and cannot do. You want an SUV? Oh, that'd be nice, wouldn't it? But sorry, oh, the mileage just isn't good enough on that. Well, how about an incandescent light bulb, please? No, sorry, they use too much energy. Quarter pounder with cheese? No. Meat is even more harmful than your SUV. This bill is a gateway bill. It will be used as a justification to regulate every industry, product, every part of your life that the government can get their grimy little fingers on. Politicians will get rich. The government will get more power and more control. Businesses are just going to pass on the cost. It's not, I'm sorry, but businesses are mostly small business people. They don't look like the monopoly guy. There's really only one loser. And that is you, the consumer, because you don't have a lobbying arm. The worst is, we aren't breaking any new ground here. While we're busy marching towards socialism, the rest of the world is running away from it because they've tried it already. Australia is killing their carbon tax proposals. It's already a complete failure in Spain, where it has resulted, listen to this, where it has resulted in 18.1% unemployment, more than double Europe's average. They are losing 2.2 jobs for every one green job created. I think the New York Times said it best on the EU's cap-and-trade program that started it all in 2005. Here's what the New York Times said. Quote, their plan unleashed a lobbying free-for-all that led politicians to dole out favors to various industries, undermining the environmental goals. 4 years later, it is becoming clear that that system has so far produced little noticeable benefit to the climate, but generated a multi-billion-dollar windfall for some of the contingent's biggest polluters, the New York Times. And can we bring up Congress, please? Let's show Congress. They are actually voting on this bill. They're still yapping back and forth. I don't know. I think it's a good idea. There they are on the House floor. Call your representatives now while you can still afford to have the lights on and actually see the phone numbers on your phone. Let's bring in Phil Kerpen. He is the Director for Policy for Americans for Prosperity. Phil, is this thing going to pass today?
It's going to be right down to the wire. By our count, they're at about 210 votes right now, which means they're 8 votes short. There are 15 left undecided. The President of the United States has been personally making calls, twisting arms. His whole whip team has sort of taken this over because Nancy Pelosi failed. She couldn't get it done. So we'll see. It's going to be right down to the wire one way or another. It'll either just squeak through or they'll actually fail and it won't pass.
You like watermelon?
Love watermelon.
I think this is a watermelon bill. You know,
I think you're exactly right. This bill is green on the outside, the thinnest green on the outside, and inside it's deep communist red. And, you know, Gorbachev actually runs an environmental group now. I don't know if everyone knows that, but this bill has only the thinnest sheen of environmentalism. Greenpeace said it'll do nothing to reduce pollution. Even the EPA says it might increase greenhouse gas emissions. This is just an excuse for central planning, central control of our economy.
Let me tell you something. First of all, 1,300 pages. America, here's 1,300 pages. They got it last night. Les Miserables, 1,300 pages, and Ayn Rand, Atlas Shrugged, 1,300 pages. Have you, I mean, you tell somebody, hey, read Ayn Rand, Atlas Shrugged tomorrow. Have it done by tomorrow. Nobody can read and understand that in what they've done.
They added another 309 pages at 4 a.m. this morning. And when a Republican asked, can I see the bill, can I read it at the desk, just a couple hours ago, they said, sorry, we don't have a copy here at the desk. So they're in disarray right now. Okay. Nobody's read this.
This is nothing but another, this is a sellout. This is AIG gets rich on this. Goldman Sachs gets rich on this.
You're right. It's all the same bad Wall Street players, all the major banks. AIG and Goldman Sachs have been involved in this from the very beginning, pushing this idea back with Enron. They actually hatched this in the 90s. And they want to make a fortune.
Goldman Sachs
was in the room with Enron when they came up with this idea. And they want to get permits, this permit of derivatives built up around it. It's like inventing the Treasury market. Billions and billions of dollars doing this. They are the winners. You said that there are no winners. Those big companies, big Wall Street banks, they're huge, huge winners.
No.
We pay for it all in higher tax.
The companies that, I mean, it's the same story over and over again. The companies, the big ones, especially, I mean, you know, Goldman Sachs, I mean, America, I mean, let's not forget who these weasels are. Treasury, all of the Treasury secretaries keep coming from Goldman Sachs. Everybody is involved in Goldman Sachs. These guys are the power players. Gee, it's interesting how everybody else, all their competition, was really kind of put out of business recently. We couldn't save Bear Stearns or Merrill Lynch, but Goldman Sachs survived, and now they're giving out these gigantic bonuses to people. I thought we were against giant bonuses. Oh, but don't worry, because those giant bonuses are only going to get bigger now that we have cap and trade. It is the only one that is benefiting.
Well, and Glenn, I'll tell you, General Electric is another huge beneficiary of this. They've set up a whole division just to trade these carbon credits. They're worth nothing right now. If the bill passes, they'll be worth a fortune. And I think that's why their media properties are such huge cheerleaders for this. They're a big winner.
They've set up the market for the trade?
They've got it all set up. General Electric's greenhouse emission services. They're subsidiary.
It is. I mean, when are we going to learn? Yesterday, Al Gore went down to Congress, and they actually, some of the Democrats said, "Please, Al, don't come to Congress," because he's making, no matter how many times he says, "No, I'm not making any money on this," he's donating his salary. But he's still getting money from his investments, is he not?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, there are a lot of people who've looked at his investment portfolio and say, this guy stands to be the first global warming billionaire if this bill passes. He may make $1 billion.
But he says that he doesn't make any of that money.
He makes $200,000 a speech, and he's got huge investments in every type of carbon trading, carbon credits, alternative energy. Of course, he doesn't care if the $30,000 a year he already has in home electric and home natural gas bills double to $60,000. He'll give one speech tomorrow and make $200,000. And he also has all these investments, all these rent seekers that are basically worthless investments that become hugely valuable if this passes.
I got to tell you, America, it is out of control. Please, if you haven't called, do we have the number down at the bottom of the screen? Please call these weasels right there. Because this is what they're doing tonight. While we're going to see Transformers, they are transforming America and your life. Cap and trade might not only hurt American competitiveness, but also do the exact opposite of what it sets out to do. According to the EPA, the policy may, quote, cause domestic production to shift abroad. Why would that happen? When those companies take their businesses overseas, they're going to wind up in countries, most likely, without cap and trade rules because they can make their profit. That will actually increase greenhouse emissions.